to another edition of Fight Breakdown here at the Ridge in San Antonio, Texas with BoxersandBrawlers.com. And here today, talking about the Canelo Cotto Fight Breakdown is none other than Kendo Tremendo Castaneda. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank y'all, brothers. Thank y'all for having me.
Kendo, you have a big fight coming up November the 14th here in San Antonio. How do you feel about that?
I feel great, man. Tremendous training camp. I've been training hard in the gym twice a week, twice a day. And I'm good, man. Been getting plenty sparring, plenty of running, plenty of everything. Keeping up with my diet, just, losing these last couple pounds before weigh-ins. And that's the hard part, the weigh-ins. And, I'm just ready for fight time.
And training camp's been going good. You're good sparring. How do you feel?
I feel great. Feel fantastic. Feel good, man. I've been training with the best. Joe Rodriguez. Mongoose is that. We've been getting plenty mid work. Just working, man, every day.
Make sure y'all check that out. It's November the 14th here at Battle at the Ballpark. It's actually called La Guerra.
La Guerra.
And that's part of the Morones boxing team. Make sure y'all go check it out. And if they need a ticket, Tremendo, how do they get a ticket?
Just contact me, Facebook, get my number, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Just hit me up, and I got the tickets.
Or they can hit up BoxersandBrawlers.com, and we'll send them to the right place. So, what we're going to do here today, John David, is we're going to do a fight breakdown, Canelo Cotto. Big fight. If not for Manny Pacquiao Mayweather, this would have been the biggest fight of the year, I believe. Yes. But what do you think of that?
I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a lot more action than Mayweather-Pacquiao, of course. We all know how that turned out for everybody's $100 for whoever bought that. But I'm going to go with what I think is going to be the underdog, which is Cotto. I'm going to go with Cotto on a decision on here.
Now, it's been somewhat publicized that Saul Canelo Alvarez is not taking training camp serious. There's been various reports, people coming out and saying that ever since that he got in a relationship, he's been lacking in his training camp. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I think he's probably still working hard. Nobody knows what's going on behind closed doors. So I personally think he's probably working just as hard as the next guy. Because Cotto is a legend. That's a future Hall of Famer. So I'm sure Canelo's going to be more than ready for this one.
Would you say, John David, that because he is the boss of his camp with Chepo Reynoso and them guys, he comes and goes as he pleases in camp? It's been well publicized. Miguel Cotto had a situation like that in a while back where he was the boss of his camp, and you know how that turned out. He had a couple losses in his camp. Well, when he got with Freddie Roach, he turned him around and said, "Hey, I'm the boss of the camp." What do you think about? What do you make of that? If in fact Canelo is the boss of his camp,
it plays against him. It plays against him. You have to let the trainer be the boss of the camp because the trainer is there to get you ready for the fight, to set you up for the fight. If you set your own rules, you're going to end up like a Chavez Jr. We all know how that turned out. Chavez Jr. sets his own rules. He goes and comes as he pleases. He doesn't train on certain days, and we've seen the way it's made him look in the fight. So hopefully that's not the case with Canelo, so that way we can see a lot more action in the fight because he's going to need it for Miguel Cotto.
Kendo, this fight is at a catch weight of 155, yet it's for the middleweight title. How do you feel about catch weights in general?
I feel catch weights are good, man, because us athletes, we take a toll on that weight, So I feel like catch weights are, they're coming around in the sport because us athletes, man, we go through a lot of sacrifice. So I guess the catch weights kind of make it a little easier on us, to come more ready in the fight, to not take a toll on us.
Do you think it's just a way of, per se, testing the waters as you move up to see how the body reacts?
Yeah, I think that's another way of looking at it too. Seeing how you can do at a catch weight before moving on fully up to the next weight division to see how you're doing on that catch weight.
John David, these guys, particularly Canelo's catching a lot of heat because he uses the catch weight a lot to his advantage, and that is to his advantage, in fact, because a lot of these middleweights have to come down to meet that, being that he's the A side. Now, this, like I said, is at 155. What do you think of that?
Me personally, I think catch weights shouldn't be utilized in a championship fight. Now, if you're moving up in weight, great. Test the waters. Do what you have to do to make the weight. If there's no titles at stake, by all means, use the catch weight. But I feel if you're a middleweight champion of the world, fight at the middleweight limit at the full 160. Now, in my opinion, back to what you said about Canelo at the 155 catch weight, I believe it's his fourth or fifth fight at 155. Now, if you ask me, from what I see, personal opinion, he's having trouble making the 155. He's aside from Cotto, he's been fighting 154 pounders, right? Now, if he could easily make the 154 weight, but he's coming in at 55, the other guy has to come in at 154 as well. Why are you going to give the other guy an advantage with that same pound the way you're doing yourself? So that's what leads me to believe that he's having difficulties making 154.
And do you think this got anything to do with the fact that there's been speculation that he's not taking camp seriously?
Not for this fight particularly, but in general, I think he's having trouble making the 154. Now, he says the only reason he'd come down to 154 is for a championship fight. Of course, you can't win 154 title at 155. So because he's also giving his other 154 contender that 1 pound advantage, he needs it himself because he's having that difficulty making that weight.
Now, moment of truth, Kendall. This fight is November 21st. We're just a couple weeks, like 3 weeks away from it, in fact. Who do you got in that fight and how?
I'm going to go with Canelo. I think Canelo's going to go maybe decision, but maybe he can hurt Cotto, man. I've seen Cotto get hurt here and there, but I don't know. You know, I mean, it's
now, Cotto's battle-tested. He's battle-tested and he's battle-worn.
Yeah, but he's still Cotto, man. Cotto's come a long way, and I think he could pull off an upset just as well, man. I mean, I think this fight could go either or.
So, for the record, you are going with Canelo on a
knockout. I'd say TKO. I'd say TKO, maybe. That's my guess.
TKO. JD?
I'm going to go with Cotto on the decision, and here's why. One thing I don't think a lot of people are taking into consideration are the corners. I think Cotto's got a much, not to down-talk Canelo's corner, but I think there's just way more experience in Cotto's corner. Now, the way I see the fight happening, if it comes out to a slugfest, Canelo knocks him out. If he goes into a slugfest, Cotto's got way better skills than a lot of people give him credit for. Now, what I see happening is Cotto's going to box 5 or 6 rounds. He's going to try to use the advantage of Canelo slowing down in the late rounds. 6th, 7th round, Cotto's going to try to turn it up, keep digging to the body, and hopefully they're going to try to wear down Canelo. So I'm going with Cotto in the decision with that, with the corners, with the possibility that they're going to want him to slow down. Hopefully it happens in the later rounds. What I'm afraid of, putting my money on Cotto, is if he goes for the left to the body, what comes after that? Canelo's right to the face. So I'm afraid he might blast him out with one of those. So he's got to be real careful going to the body.
Cotto by decision.
Cotto by decision.
And now, the moment of truth.
Here it goes.
Now, I'm going to go with Canelo by stoppage, and this is why. Over the years, we all know Cotto, he's a warrior.
Definitely.
And I believe that Canelo's going to bring the pressure. And in the earlier rounds, I think Cotto's going to outbox Canelo. He's going to move around, but Canelo is going to have his moments where he's going to bring him into, back him up to a corner per se, where he's going to have to fight and engage. And I think in one of those engages, Canelo's going to catch him and hurt him and ultimately stop him somewhere in the mid-rounds. So for all you Vegas people, put your money on Canelo between 8 and 10 rounds by TKO.
On the same token, Cotto's brought his power up to 160 very well. Extremely well, from 140 all the way up to 160, which speaks volumes of him knocking out bigger guys. So it's going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Thank you for joining BoxersandBrawlers.com here at the Ridge 1604 with Fight Breakdown Canelo Cotto. And thank you, Kendo Tremendo Castanero, for joining us again.
Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for having me, always.
BoxersandBrawlers.com in association with Studio 1601 Music. Make sure y'all go check it out.